Hola, precioso almas, and hello, beautiful souls. If, like me, you are a runner and you're looking for a quick but effective post-run yoga flow that's going to concentrate on all the areas that you as a runner needs, so your calves, your quads, your hamstrings, your glutes, your hips, your lower back. If you're looking for all of that, look no further. I've literally just been for my run, so if you want to join me with my post-run warm down yoga flow, I think we'll call it that, then feel free, come on, join me. Step onto the mat, up to the top of the mat with the feet together, arms by your sides, palms facing forward in mountain pose. Nice deep breath. We're just going to do a simple quad stretch on our right leg. So bringing our right foot up behind us and take a hold of that in the right hand. Bring your knees together, your heel towards your glute, and place your left hand on your hip for balance, or out to the side on a chair or wall, whatever it is that you've got handy to help you balance. And just keep gently pressing that right heel towards the right glute. Make sure you've got a micro bend in this left leg and the supporting leg. You don't want to be locking your knee out. This will also help with your balance and make sure that you don't cause any injuries to your knees. And gently release. Bring your feet back together at the top of the mat and your hands on your hips. And we'll just do the same on the left side. So left foot back towards the glute. Left foot and left hand, bringing the knees back together. Micro bend in that right leg. And press the left heel towards the left glute. And gently release. Bringing the feet back together at the top of the mat. Now moving your feet hips distance apart, or wherever's comfortable for you. Arms out to the sides, up and overhead, and then swan dive down to the mat into forward fold. Bringing yourself up to flat back with either your fingertips on the mat or your hands on your shins, your knees or your thighs. And then lower your hands back down to the mat and just let your head hang. Just let your upper body hang over. Now you can bend your knees as much as you want here. You're still going to get that same benefit stretch up the back of both your legs. So whether your knees are straight or your knees are bent, makes no odds, you're still going to get that benefit. But obviously the straighter your legs are, the more you're going to feel that stretch. And then just gently bend the right knee and put the weight into the left leg. Straighten the right leg, bend the left. And then swap sides again, back to the right. And finally back to the left. And then bring both legs to straight. Now put your left hand in the top of the mat, in between your two feet, just in front of your feet, and bend that left knee. Bring the right arm up towards the ceiling and looking up towards your right hand. Bring it back down again and just swap hands. So put your right hand in the centre of the mat, just in front of your feet, bend in that right leg and bring your left hand up towards the ceiling and looking up towards your left hand. And back down again. Bringing both hands to the mat now. We're going to step back with our right foot all the way to the back of the mat and then drop that right knee down to the mat. You can keep your back foot toes tucked or flat on the floor, whichever is comfortable. If you want a little bit more balance, support for your balance, then keep those toes tucked. And making sure that your left knee is tracking directly above your left ankle. You don't want your knee to be pushing any further forward than your foot. So making sure there's a right angle from your foot to your shin and then from your shin to your thigh. Bringing your hands onto your hips, your upper body upright, and allow your hips just to sink down towards the mat. You should feel a really nice stretch in your hips and in your inner thigh. And in your hip flex out the front of this leg here. I love this. Just holding this for a few breaths. And then bringing your hands back down to the mat and straighten the left leg. So you're going to be bringing your hips back towards your back foot, straightening this front leg here, and then bringing your toes up, flex your foot so your toes are facing the ceiling, and making sure your hips are square by gently pressing the left hip forward and the right hip back. Hands to the mat. Gently lean into the stretch. And then bending that front foot or front leg back into, oh, that feels good. Hands back to the mat, back into low lunge. And just hold it here for a few breaths. And then keeping your right hand on the mat, bring the left hand up and twist. Left hand towards the ceiling, chest towards your left thigh. And hands back down to the mat. I'm going to straighten this front leg again. So bringing the hips back towards the back foot, straighten that front leg, bring the toes up towards the ceiling, hands on the mat for balance and support. And then bringing your weight back forward once again into low lunge. Hands to the mat, lift the back knee off of the mat, and then bring the left foot back to join the right foot in plank. And then bringing your hips up towards the sky, pressing back with your hands so that your chest is coming towards the mat and your heels towards the mat at the back. Now you can keep your legs bent in this position, or you can straighten them, but your heels do not have to touch the mat in this downward dog position. And just bending your right knee and pressing your left heel back towards the mat. Straighten the right leg, bend the left, press the right heel towards the mat. Swap sides back to the other side. And swapping again. Straighten both legs with your heels pressed towards the mat. And then back towards plank pose, just into a straight body in full plank, and then bring the right foot up to place it next to the right hand. We're going to drop the left knee down to the mat. Again, your toes can be tucked in this low lunge pose, or you can lay the top of your foot flat on the mat. And once again, making sure that the right knee is tracking directly over the right ankle and that your knee isn't too far forward. Bringing your upper body upright, hands on your hips, and allow your hips just to sink towards the mat. That feels good. And bringing your hands back down to the mat, pressing the weight backwards towards your back foot and straightening that right leg. Again, bringing your toes up towards the ceiling, flexing the foot, and keeping the hips square by gently pressing the right hip backwards and the left hip forwards. This is called half split. I forgot to mention that. And then bringing your weight back forward again into low lunge, just keeping your hands on the mat this time. Placing the weight into your left hand, bringing your right hand up towards the ceiling and twisting towards your chest, twisting your chest towards your right thigh and looking up towards your hand. And then bring your hands back to the mat. And one last half split, weight back towards the back foot. Straighten that front leg, flex the front foot. Just sink into the stretch. And then back forward into the lunge, hands to the mat, weight into the hands, lifting that back knee off the mat, bringing the right foot back to join the left foot in plank, and then hips up towards the ceiling, chest towards the mat, back into downward dog. And now just bringing your knees down to the mat. And what we're going to do now is bring our right knee to our right hand and left foot somewhere comfortably on the left side of our mat. Pressing that back leg out towards the back of the mat. Allow your the top of your foot to lie flat on the mat, and just sink your hips down towards the mat. So depending on how flexible you are, your left foot could be up here. Sorry, your right foot could be up here, or where mine is, down here. And effectively, my groin is resting on this foot, but I'm still getting the benefits of the stretch of this pigeon pose, which is a really good glute and hip stretch, and also good for the hip flexors on the opposite side here. So just pressing yourself away from the mat, keep your chin tucked. You don't want to be looking up in this pose. Chin tucked so that your neck's nice and straight, nice and long. This gives you a slight back bend as well, which is lovely. And then just leaning your chest forward over that front leg, front knee. Bring your hands in front and rest your head on your hands. Come back up to your hands. If you want to add a quad stretch into this pigeon pose, we can take it from pigeon to king pigeon, which is bending that back leg or reaching around with the same arm, same side arm, taking hold of the foot and bringing this towards your glute. And this will give you a good quad stretch as well. And gently release that back foot back to the mat. Oh, sorry, that's my knees. Weight into your hands, tuck the back toes so that your back knee is off the mat. And just come back into tabletop position. We're going to do exactly the same on the other side. So left knee to left hand and left foot somewhere over the right side of the mat. Bring the right leg back, allow it to rest on the mat with the top of the foot flat on the mat. Just allow your hips to sink down either onto the mat or, in my case, onto my foot. Fingertips to the mat, pressing yourself away so your body's upright, keeping your chin tucked and looking straight ahead. And then bringing your arms down in front of you and resting your head on your arms. And back up onto your hands. And once again, if you want to add a quad stretch into this pigeon pose, take it to king pigeon. So bending that back leg, reaching around with the right arm to take the right foot, and just gently pulling the right foot towards the right glute. And release that when you're ready. Hands back to the mat, tuck that back leg, lifting your your right knee off of the mat, and then bringing your left knee back, and then bring your right knee back onto the mat, into tabletop position, sitting back onto your heels, and then just gently lean back, keeping your knees together, lean back, hands behind you for support, so you're not putting too much pressure on your back, hands behind you, and gently press your hips up and away from your heels for another final quad stretch. Keeping your chin tucked in this position, once again, so you don't put too much pressure on the neck. You get a wonderful shoulder stretch thrown in at the same time for this one. And hips back towards the heels. Bring your upper body upright. Bring your knees out to the same width as the mat. Toes together underneath. And just reaching forwards into child's pose, our final pose of this post-run warm down yoga flow. and bring your head just to rest on the mat. And when you're ready, pressing yourself back up, bring your knees back together, arms up towards the ceiling, bringing your hands together, bring your hands to your chest into Anjali Mudra. Thank you so much for joining me on this post-run stretch session. I hope your body feels as good as mine does right now. I know that's exactly what it was needing, exactly what my body was craving, so I hope that hit the spot for you. Please do let me know if you found this helpful. But thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for trusting me to show you how your body can feel so much better after a run. And I'll see you on the next video. Namaste. Now, I am not in any way affiliated to this company. They don't give me any money for saying stuff like this. However, if I use a product that I love and I would be prepared to share with my best friend, then you better bet your backside I'm going to share it with you too. For goodness shakes, recovery shake. The flavour, my favourite flavour is vanilla fudge, but you do get it in chocolate as well, which is absolutely delicious, but my favourite vanilla. Anyway, I like to take one of these after I've been for a run. It genuinely does help with recovery. Very, very little muscle ache the next day. So combine this with my yoga session, no aches, you'll recover so much quicker and you'll be able to go out running again sooner. So it's a win-win. And honestly, it tastes delicious. It's like pudding. I absolutely love it. But there you go. I don't earn any money for saying this, but I genuinely mean it. So give it a bash, try it out. You can get it online or most supermarkets in the UK. But yeah, there you go. Enjoy.